homophobe means, because to me that's not even a legitimate word. A phobia is a fear of someone. So just because you don't agree with someone doesn't mean you fear them. It just means you don't agree with them.
If you look up the word homophobe, sir, it means that you have a problem with homosexuals.
No, I'm talking phobia. So if you have a phobia means fear. So if you could come up with a better word, sir, I would agree with you.
I'm at my office.
But a phobia means you have a fear of someone. But because you don't agree with someone, doesn't mean that you have a fear of them. It just means you don't agree with their lifestyle. Now, what my son does, I have no idea what he does.
No, sir, he's not a homophobe.
I am gay myself. I was married for a long time and then decided I didn't want to be married.
Did you just say you were gay, but you are a homophobe? Okay, sir, I am at my office in Irvine.
I didn't say I was a homophobe.
Sir, I'm at my office in Irvine, California.
I just didn't say I agree with the word homophobe.
All right, sir, can you hear me out? I'm in my office at Irvine, California. I have.
Okay, that's
this
a good
is Jonathan
place.
Wu, by the way, in case you need to call me back to do with this account.
I wouldn't call you back if my life depended on it.
All right, I'm just doing my job. I'm on the computer right now. I have the dictionary open online, and homophobia is an irrational fear or aversion or discrimination against homosexuality.
Right, and I just told you I don't agree with that word. A phobia, you have taken a word, an English word, and you have contorted it to something that doesn't mean.
Sir,
so if you have a phobia against cats, then you're afraid of cats.
No,
but
yes,
if you
exactly,
don't agree with someone's lifestyle, it doesn't mean you have a phobia. It just means you don't agree with their lifestyle.
People like you.
So then you label someone a homophobe. It doesn't even know. Now, if their father is a homo, then it doesn't even. How does that even fit?
Sir. And also, your son was making a racial remarks due to user reports.
Well, everyone has a racial component in life. Okay?
I understand that.
I mean, the federal government wants to know what race you are. They want to know. The only government I know of that doesn't do any racial is France. If you're a French citizen, then you're French. They don't take any racial information.
All right, sir.
So as long as the U.S. government takes racial information.
Your son or the parent, because we do require the parents to be there when signing the terms and conditions, and he was saying he was making racial remarks to our other users, which takes away from their gameplay. And sir, are you promoting him calling? Are you promoting your son? Are you promoting? This is your son, right, Eric Heyer? That I'm calling.
Which one?
That
I have many sons.
Eric Heyer. That's the name on the account. The
That's
Warrock
one
account.
of my sons.
All right, that's the son I am talking about, and his account's the one that's being terminated. But the thing is,
well, if you don't like what he says, then just cancel it.
No,
I mean,
sir,
that's your opinion.
Sir, it's not me that doesn't like. I'm just doing my job. He follows.
Well, then do your job. Don't complain about it.
I'm not complaining.
Sticks and stone can hurt your bones, but names will never hurt me.
Sir,
see, in other words, you're all worked about somebody calling somebody a name.
I'm not worked.
Well,
I'm just doing my job.
This is the real world.
Well,
then do your job. Don't complain about it.
I'm calling to inform you, as the parent, you should have been there to see the terms and conditions and read the rules of the game. And our rules, you aren't allowed to promote him calling, as an example, African Americans the N-word. You promote that?
Well, that's fine. They call each other the N-word. If you listen to any rap song known to man, they call each other the N-word. Now, when I worked at a place, I worked at a place with 7 Georges, and one of the Georges was a black man. We had 3 black men named George. One of us told him to call him Nigger George. Now, should I have been offended that he actually asked me to call him Nigger George?
I'm personally offended when you say racial remarks, but
I didn't say it was a racial mark. I'm just telling you that a black man chose that as his name.
Okay, but
so now is that bad that I used his name?
Sir, the other user in our game didn't want to be called the whatever racial slur because I just inform. I don't actually review the.
Well, then review it or do whatever you want, but don't complain about it because this is the real world.
Our players have a right to complain. They have a right to file a report.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe in freedom of speech. So if anybody wants to say anything they want, then that's fine with me.
Sir, we developed this game, and it is in
our... Well, then knock them off. Take your little scribbler and say you can't play anymore. But don't complain about it like some little young girl, if that won't offend you.
Sir, our users, they're protected. This is a rated teen game. They're protected.
Okay, well, he's a teenager, so he's in there. He's in that age group.
I know, and our other users, if they're protected, what are
they going to do when they get out in the real world? Or let's say they end up getting arrested and go to prison. Have you ever been to prison?
No, sir, I have not been to prison.
I have been to prison. Let me tell you something. Everything is racial, and that's all there is to it. And if you complain about it, they're going to stab you. So, I mean, you just got to get a thicker skin and don't worry about it.
I completely disagree with you. Why would you raise your son this way? You aren't a comic, and you're trying to raise your son like this.
I'm not raising him anyway. He's allowed the freedom to raise himself whichever way he feels fit.
The African-American user's parent that your son
called... I don't, first of all, my neighbors, the only African-Americans I know are all white, so I don't even know what that means. Their father is African, and their mother's American. And now our president is an African-American because his father... No, but I would say he's an African-American.
I know, your son didn't say...
I don't care what anybody calls anybody.
The user didn't say African-American. He used a racial slur. Do you understand what that means? A racial slur?
Well, you mean like in the book Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn, where Nigger Jim was the main character. You mean like that?
Sure, I don't read books.
Well, you should, because that's an American classic. Huck Finn,
I'm not American.
Where he went down a trip down to where he went down to Mississippi.
Sir, just
but if anyone can use, so if rappers can use the word, I feel anyone can use the word.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
Like that.
I'm saying if there's one group can't use a word if another can't.
No,
so I'm a promoter of the English language, and everyone can use the language.
No, the thing is,
so it doesn't matter. So I'll give you for instance where that word is good. So let's say you had a bunch of $1 bills. You went to the bank and you got your paycheck, and you had it all converted to $1 bills.
Why would I do that?
Well, listen to me. That's called a nigger. You're nigger rich. Now, that has nothing to do with your race. It has nothing to do with anything.
I've never heard that.
It just means you have a big wad of. Well, then you haven't lived in the ghetto. I grew up in the ghetto. Well, I did. I lived in the ghetto, so I'm trying to educate you a little bit. So let's say you got 300 $1 bills and 120 on the outside. You call that a nigger. You call that nigger rich.
The ghetto, did you call your African American friend the N-word?
Only one, because he asked me to call him that.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
there you go.
Otherwise, I don't call them anything but their name, whatever their name is.
There you go. You're whoever this Eric Heyer is. Did the other party ask to be called that said racial slur? Did he ask for it?
Which one? The one that asked to be called that? I don't know. I didn't read anything.
There you go. You just proved my point. You said...
No, I didn't prove anybody's point.
You just said you didn't call your African-American friend the N-word because he didn't ask to. Did our user ask to be called this racial slur that your son called him? Did he ask?
Well, then he should get a thicker skin. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
What's going to happen?
Words,
sticks, and
stones can break your bones, but names... They need to learn that names can't hurt them.
He's 8 years old. My son says that. Do you understand?
Well, that's his problem.
How old are you, sir? You need to grow up and realize what boundaries.
Well, do you realize I had a black mammy as a child? Now, should I have not called
N-word? You had a black mammy.
No, but I called her mammy because that's what she asked me to call her.
Exactly.
So now, should I have not called her mammy?
No, the thing is, our user didn't ask to be called it, and he was offended by it. Why? If
then that's life. That's life in the big city. When he gets out there in the real world, and Chinese people are attacking our country, and they say, "You're American, and I'm going to kill you."
Sir, listen to me.
I'm an American. Speak to my manager, sir.